The competition is something I thought of because there really is something special about singing Handel. I mean, obviously there are lots of good singers about, lots of young singers who are very accomplished, but the art of singing Handel is really special. You need to be able to adapt your voice for the texture. You may have to project over a whole orchestra, or you may just be a solo aria with a solo flute player. You have to be very flexible. You have to know about Baroque performance practice, how to trill, how to sustain a line, how to ornament the da capo aria, which of course was what the 18th century singers were so famous for. They came over from Italy with all these tricks up their sleeves and wowed the London audience. And that's partly what, of course, the modern singer has to do too, to persuade and also to thrill the listener.
It requires everything but a big wobbly voice, and I think that that younger singers can approach singing some of the melodies that Handel wrote that are quite simple but effective and beautiful, and they can approach those without having years and years and years of experience. And I think there's a way in to this sort of music for young people, and so I would always advise a young singer to begin by singing some Handel, because it's not technically easy, but if you can manage, if you can get around some of the techniques needed for Handel, then it'll serve you in good stead.
Again, a wonderful thing about Handel is that there's something in Handel to suit just about any voice. Whether you're light or heavy, high or low, there will be characters for you somewhere. And so, with a bit of good programme planning, I think that young singers ought to have a feast in preparing for the competition as well.
The wonderful thing about it, I feel, is that all 5 or 6 finalists are invited to perform in the festival the following year. It means that the performance itself is not the be-all and end-all in the competition, that it gives opportunities to several people, and we see them come back year after year and hear them develop further.
We've been very fortunate in the competition to have a great number of very good singers apply, and it's always an exciting moment, not always the audience agreeing with the jury, but that's the great stuff of competitions, and we're very fortunate that for Theodora, Erika Alof, who won last year's competition, is going to take the eponymous role.
The competition win was a big surprise for me. I didn't expect to win anything. And there's been lots of work coming in throughout the year as a result. You know, people log on to competitions. And apparently Theodora was one of his favourite oratorios, because he liked the choruses in Theodora the most, compared to Messiah.
I think he loved popular drama. When I say that, I don't think he'd be doing the kind of musical theatre that we see on the West End, but I think he'd be doing something that was definitely appealed to everybody, that would have, again, bring people in to his drama. He loved setting dramatic texts and convincing and persuading people. So he'd be finding his medium for doing that, I'm sure.
One of his incredible traits that he had was, if you'll pardon the analogy, almost like a Madonna-like ability to be able to work out where the next big trend was going to be and to get on it before anyone else realised. So when he saw that opera was no longer popular, he changed and almost reinvented an entire new genre, oratorio, to make money out of that. But also, if you, for example, Theodora itself, he tapped into, at the time, there was an incredible craze for these novels like Clarissa and Pamela, Samuel Richardson, of these virtuous damsels in distress, and so he wrote an oratorio basically about that. So he was canny, he had his finger on the pulse, and he knew what would sell, and he was never afraid to reinvent himself or his music. So in that respect, I think perhaps Madonna learned a few things from him.
I think we're absolutely poised to become a really important international music festival. As often with these things from humble beginnings, it was very much a local thing in Handel's church in Mayfair, a lot of local performers, and gradually we've broadened the horizon of the festival. We have more visiting artists, which is exciting, but of course incurs its own costs. And I'd love to see some more visiting groups. I'd love to see even greater variety in the programme, and also be able to sort of research new programmes and find there are more sort of fragments in libraries that need sewing together. There are exciting projects that can be put on, more stagings of the operas to make them even more accessible to young people and audiences generally. And the great thing about being able to put these works on, as I've said, is really that the relationship between the audience and the performers is so close. The audience feels sucked in to the performances. It's not like a sort of distant concert hall. You know, in this church where we perform the oratorios, they're on top of us and we're on top of them, and that's just how it should be.